In this video, we'll perform the Slowloris Attack. Here are the topics: how you set up Kali Linux machines so you have an Apache server to attack, how an HTTP GET works, which we've covered before, and how you modify that script to create a Slowloris attack. As before, you have two Kali Linux machines. The target was on the left when I did it, and the attacker on the right, and put them both in the same networking mode so they can send traffic from one to the other. I recommend putting both in NAT mode. On the target machine, just start Apache. It's already included with service Apache 2 start. Then that machine will be listening on port 80, and it will show the server status. If you open a browser and go to localhost/server status, you can see the status of your Apache server, and the thing we care about is shown at the bottom, the number of requests currently being processed. At first, you will have only one request, which is this browser showing the status page. Now remember, in a previous video, we made an HTTP GET with a script like this, where you just start Python and import Scapy, configure your machine for raw sockets, specify the destination address, which should be the other Kali Linux machine, specify a TCP port of 80, and then you send a packet, which is going to be a SYN, and you take the reply, and you use the reply packet called R here to calculate the correct ACK to complete the handshake, and then you send the ACK part of the handshake with a layer 7 payload that is an HTTP request. An HTTP request has to say get/http/1.1 carriage return line feed. Then it has to specify the host and have two carriage return line feeds at the end to complete it. If you run that get script and then look at your server status, you'll now have two requests, of course. You just started a second one. To make a Slowloris attack, you simply remove the carriage return line feed from the request. So the request is incomplete, and it will then waste resources on the server that waits for the completion of this request. And you can move the part of the handshake that varies here and put it in a loop with different source ports, so you can make several requests. This loop will make 10 requests, just sending a SYN, getting the reply, and sending the SYN ACK with that incomplete request. That is the Slowloris attack, and when you run it, it will now have an extra 10 requests used on the server, and these incomplete requests take quite a while to time out, so with very few packets per second, you can freeze an Apache server with this attack. So let's try it. If you go here, here's my target. So I start Apache, and I get its IP address. So I know where it is, which is 172.16.188. And if I want to be sure that Apache is running, I can test it here with netstat -PANT. That will show me what listening processes there are on the machine, and it shows me that Apache 2 is listening on port 80. If I go to the browser, here, I've got Apache server status, and it shows that right now I'm servicing one request, as expected. On this machine, I have my Slowloris script ready to go. If I open it up and get rid of the colors, you can see here I'm importing Python, configuring raw sockets, and specifying the address. Then I put the incomplete request in an REQ variable, and now, for ports from 2000 through 2009, I will send a SYN, get the reply, calculate an ACK, and send an ACK containing that incomplete layer 7 request. So if I run that, I'll see messages from Scapy as it sends those packets, and now my server has 11 requests. A default Apache install can only handle a total of 150 requests, so you don't have to extend that script very much further before it will tie up the server, and as long as you keep sending those packets, it will be unavailable. In the next video, we'll cover Challenge 1, where you create the SMB Loris attack.